So as you know, I have in the last, well, it's been a full, let's see, I guess about a year and a half now, I've been doing a hobby business, repairing lawnmowers and chainsaws, weed eaters. I call it lawn equipment. Basically, I don't get into ATVs or golf carts or anything like that. And this area is a fairly poor neighborhood. Now, that being said, there is also a rich part of the neighborhood. And what that is a bunch of people from the city buy second homes around here, and they come during the summer. So I get a lot of their business too. I try to charge a very low fee because the poor people still need their lawnmowers repaired. Now, the rich people benefit from that. And it has actually helped me out quite a bit, because the rich people will bring their lawnmower from their second home, get it repaired, and realize, hey, I can save a lot of money down here if I bring my lawnmower from Kansas City down here and get it repaired or serviced or whatever. To kind of give you an example, I charge $80 to service a riding mower. I try not to give prices, but that one's, I don't mind telling you that one, $80. Well, if you go up to Kansas City, I've heard that it can cost $120 to $150 to service the same mower. So, you know, they're saving, you know, 50, 70, 80 bucks to have it serviced down here. And, you know, I guess, yeah, it would cost extra to, you know, bring your trailer down here and all that. But the downside for me being down here is when they go home on Monday or Sunday evening, they got to leave their mower here. And so sometimes they have to leave it here for several weeks. No big deal. As long as they tell me, I don't have a problem with that. And usually, the nice thing about that is they're really nice mowers, because they come from the rich neighborhood. They're nice mowers. But I get business from everybody in the area because of it, and I get extra business from the rich people because of it. I think it's a really good idea. Like I said, I charge a quarter of what the two biggest towns next to me charge. A quarter. But I don't have a lot of overhead cost. You know, I do it all on the patio here. I don't have electric that I got to worry about, or huge insurance bills, and, you know, all that stuff. I don't have employees. But I get on Facebook and I see all the time, that's worth every penny of $100 an hour, $100 an hour, $100 an hour. And I think, my goodness, how are you getting $100 an hour? Now, on a side note, not really relevant to this video, I've noticed a lot of people on Facebook who are charging $100 an hour also have no idea how to repair lawnmowers. So I think that has a lot to do with it. That, you know, if they can charge $100 to change out a carburetor, so, you know, it's going to be $150 to change out a carburetor. You know, they made $100 changing out a carburetor. Now, I really try to keep my prices low so business will keep rolling in, and that's just been my philosophy. Now, I do think that next year we are going to raise the prices a little bit, maybe $10 an hour, maybe. Just because I don't want people thinking that I'm too cheap, because I do think that can be a problem as well. If I'm too cheap, you know, people are always giving me tips and saying you deserve more money than that and that kind of stuff, and I don't want them thinking that I don't know what I'm doing because I'm too cheap. So, you know, try to find that balance, you know, whatever it is. So, I really feel that is the next evolution of the hobby business. Also, I just bought that ultrasonic cleaner, and that's going to save a ton of money because I won't have to buy so many carburetors. So I charge one price to clean the carburetor. I charge another price to, well, it's about the same price. It's to buy a carburetor, it costs $5 more than it does for me to clean the carburetor. So if I can just clean the carburetor, I'm going to make a ton more money than buying the carburetor. I just attended a live feed, you know, of a lawnmower guy. I've told you about him in the past. He's the kind of guy that makes every video, well, he hasn't made a video in a long time, but he makes every video where he's asking everyone, what do you think I should do? How should I fix this? It's not how to teach me anything. I'm supposed to teach him. So what it is, it's a panel of YouTube guys, lawnmower repair YouTube guys. None of them which I've heard of. I've never heard of any of them. You go over their channel, you know, you got 2 subscribers. They've made 1,000 videos, and they all start out with, well, today it's a nice sunny day. It's a blog like this channel is, and maybe we'll work on a lawnmower today. Let's see, I got this lawnmower here. But before I get into that, my Aunt Susie, you know, she was telling me the other day that she had a little baby girl. Isn't that nice? Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. Don't worry about that. We'll get to it. So, you know, it's one of those kind of channels. So anyway, I got off track a little bit. They're going around the panel, and I think there's like 6 guys, and they're all talking about the low quality lawnmowers that they produce today for residential use. They're talking about how Husqvarna is not a quality lawnmower, and it's not even worth fixing anymore. You know, they bring it to you, and it needs a, what was it that it needed? I don't remember. It doesn't matter. So they said, you know, so you're going to have to do this, and before you know it, you got $300 worth of labor cost into doing this job, plus all the parts. Now you're up to $800. Nobody wants to pay that for a disposable lawnmower. You know, you work 3 hours on it, you got 3 hours and $300 of money into it. Well, customers don't want to pay that, so they're not bringing me their mowers anymore. So instead, they'll just go out and get a new lawnmower. This industry is terrible. It's just dying. Nobody can make any money here. And next person would come in. Yeah, you know, I worked on a chainsaw the other day, and I told you about this one last week. Charged $120, and I still can't figure out what's wrong with it. I'm not going to make anything on this thing. So, you know, it's just one person after another, all complaining about low quality equipment. You know, Cub Cadet, MTD, Craftsman, I think Toro, are all made by MTD. And so my mind is, well, if they're all made by MTD, then you know that if a Toro comes in or a Craftsman comes in, they're going to be identical. They're going to have the same kind of problems. That's my thinking. I really enjoy that because it's like an assembly line. Oh, next one, oh, same thing. It's something happened this year. I can't remember what it was, but it was two mowers came in identical problems, and it was like, hey, you know, just order 2 parts. Whatever it was, I can't remember. To me, it's just really easy. And the thing is mowers keep rolling in, and I'm not complaining about low quality. To me, it seems that if people want to bring me their low quality equipment and give me money to fix it, I should be excited about the low quality equipment. You mean you're going to bring me a piece of junk that it's a disposable lawnmower, and you're going to ask me to fix it, and I'm going to fix it, and you're going to be willing to pay, and you're not going to complain about how much money it costs because it didn't cost you twice, or, you know, what, 3/4 of what a new machine would cost? And the thing is they're not cheap. You go to Home Depot, I mean, you're going to pay at least, I would think, $2,000, I would think, for a decent sized riding mower. So, yeah, you'd like to keep it running for a little bit of time. And, you know, here's one that always aggravates me. They talk about the camshaft on Briggs & Stratton single cylinder. My John Deere is a single cylinder Briggs & Stratton. And the camshaft has a compression relief, and it always breaks. There's another one called the Kohler Courage, and it has a plastic camshaft, or cam gear, and the same thing. I actually worked on one of these this year. Well, in the Briggs I worked on last year. Okay, so you know exactly what's wrong. When it comes in here, you don't have to spend any time diagnosing it. You turn the key, you know exactly what's wrong, you pull the engine off, you turn it over, you order a new camshaft, you order a new gasket, and you order a new crankcase seal, crank shaft seal. You take out the old cam, you clean out all the parts that fell down into the engine, and you put it in, you put it all back together, and it's back on. I mean, it takes an hour. The camshaft is a little expensive. It's like 150 bucks. But you can buy aftermarket, and if you're willing, I don't know if I would do it to a customer, but if I was doing something for myself, I would just weld the camshaft, because the aftermarket, the cam will spin on, or the lobes will spin on you. You just, if you weld that, it would be fine. But that's beside the point. I don't see the big deal. You tell the customer, oops, the engine is broke. You don't have to go into detail what's wrong with it. The engine's broke. I got to open up the engine. And they're thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to be expensive. And you come up with a price of, I don't know, 200 bucks. And they're like, really? Wow, that's great. But these guys, they would do a camshaft, and I've heard them say it before. Camshaft, $600 all day long. Oh, is it really? So let me understand this. Camshaft, $600 all day long. But you're not getting anybody to bring you an engine that needs a camshaft, because they're not going to pay $600. So it's not $600 all day long. It's $0 all day long. You're making $0. You're not making any money. So in this live feed, I say I charge X amount. And I told them what I charged, because I used an alias. Nobody knows who I am. And I really don't want to advertise what I make, or what I charge. So I tell them I charge this much. And I get business all day long on these low quality pieces of equipment. People bring them to me, and it feeds the family and everything. I'm making tons of money, and I'm always busy. And the guy said, that kind of money wouldn't buy bacon and eggs, or no, breakfast. That kind of money wouldn't buy breakfast around here. It wouldn't buy breakfast. My breakfast cost, I'm going to go on the high side and say $2 to $3. $2 to $3. So, bacon, eggs. You might want a piece of toast. I don't eat toast. So bacon and eggs. Carolyn cooks them up every morning for me, and I really appreciate it. But I could cook them myself. So, I think the bacon is a $20 for a 10-pound box. And of course, you got the egg. They're a little expensive nowadays, but still, it's not that kind of money is going to cost. The money I charge isn't going to buy breakfast. So he tells me what he makes per hour, and my reply is you're not making that kind of money. You just told me nobody's bringing you equipment. You're making $0 an hour. And he literally said, well, you know what I mean. Actually, no, I don't. I know that I'm not very bright. I get it. But I don't know what he means. If you are not getting any money because your prices are too high, you're literally making $0 an hour. If I'm working every hour for 8-10 hours, I'm making money. I kind of like that idea. I like making money. And like I said, my overhead isn't that high. Now, I've seen this guy. I've seen his shop. People will drop it off into his driveway. It's a house. He's got a garage. And he does most of the work out in the driveway. This is when he was doing work. He's not doing work anymore. So they would drop it off, and he would get mad that they didn't put a piece of cardboard underneath their dripping oil, the oil drip. And he's always complaining about the customer and how they don't want to pay. It's just, so I don't understand it. They think that this job is a get-rich-quick scheme. And if you understand economics, it's simple economics, actually. Economics is supply and demand. You can only charge what the customer is willing to pay. That's all you can charge. If you got a company next door charging less than you, do you think if the quality is about equal that they're going to come to the higher place, the higher cost place? No, they're the same. Remember the gas wars? I remember the last gas war that I saw was in the mid-90s. I came home from the military on leave, and two gas stations in my wife's hometown. I lived a town over, and we were visiting her parents. And the two gas stations right across the street from each other were having a gas war. And they dropped it down to like a ridiculous rate, like 50 cents or something. It was crazy low, 80 cents. So, they just keep dropping, trying to get the customers. If one person would have dropped their rates and the other would have kept it up, that guy over there would not have been making any money. It's the same principle. If it's cheaper or more cost effective or makes more sense to go buy new more, why bring it to you? And it does you no good to get on YouTube and complain all day long about how you're not making any money because of low quality equipment. The manufacturer wants to make money. It's called supply and demand, economics, all that stuff. They want to make money. So they're reducing the quality of the parts. That camshaft that breaks, oh yeah, it's a piece of junk. But to me, it's gold. That camshaft is absolute gold. It's broke. You got a broke camshaft? Yeah, bring it on down. Yeah, I'll change it out for you. I like that. That's great. Thank you. Oh, they got these junky camshafts you got to replace all the time. Nobody wants to spend $600 to fix it. Well, then don't charge $600. Reduce your overhead costs. Reduce your expenses. Reduce your breakfast cost. So if you click this up next box, take the video over to my other channel. We'd appreciate it if you go check it out. So if I can inspire you to think about the market so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.